Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Journey Podcast. I have a special guest, Nick Sarda, in the building, who is a previous PTBI alumni. He went through our program last October, got his business started. He's been a full-time coach ever since. And in the last year, he has grown to like really insane levels. He has taken a really cool spin on his business. Not only is he working on fitness, but he has integrated mental health as a huge pillar in his fitness transformation. And it's really amazing because he serves an awesome niche of military servicemen. And so not only does he get them results inside the military, but he also helps them fortify a really, really strong mindset. And I know that Nick went through his own journey battling his demons, and now he's come out the other side, conquered and slayed those demons, and he's been in more control over his life than I've ever seen. It's just been really amazing to see. So I'm bringing him on to share. We're going to talk about mental health because I've also battled my demons as well. And we all have days where the sun doesn't come out and life looks like poo poo. And, so we're going to just riff into how to overcome those battles. So, Nick, dude, been a long time coming. So good to have you on the podcast. Why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself?
Dude, well, first of all, thanks for having me on the podcast. I'm super stoked to be here. So I mean, just you pretty much said everything, but yeah, dude, prior U.S. Navy sailor of 6 years, recently just got out last January. And from the transition of getting out of the military up until now, I think has been probably the most significant change I've ever gone through in life, through my mindset, my mental health, just all kinds of things. So I think this podcast has come at a really good time.
Cool. Awesome. So I do want to put a really big emphasis on men's mental health today, and even just mental health in general. If there's any females listening to this episode, this is all going to pertain to you. But I think it's really unique because we don't, you go on Instagram, you see a lot of girls sharing affirmations, you see a lot of girls journaling. You don't really see too many guys doing that. It seems like it's kind of like taboo for guys to be very open about mental health. And I know you're really big into affirmations and stuff. So what did that journey look like from you from the beginning? Did you, like back in high school before you started, before you joined the military, was mental health something that you ever thought about, or like how did that journey look like for you?
Dude, so I think, going back on what you first said about the it being taboo for men to kind of like journal and say affirmations and all that. I think I was categorized as one of those guys. I just thought that I had to be tough and, just go through the bullshit, come out the other side, internalize all my emotions and everything like that, up until probably the end of my military career. I was just like, I got to be tougher than everything going on around me. I got to be the alpha male. And, through my perseverance and toughness, I'll get through anything, kind of thing. And so to answer your question, dude, I really just got into it because of Jess and Cam. I just saw the whole affirmations thing and how Jess was just so authentic and real. And I was just like, it's kind of coincidence because during my transition out of the military, I was seeing a cognitive behavioral therapist and he recommended journaling. So I was like, shit, well, if my therapist is telling me this and I see Jess and Cam and all these like just free individuals doing it as well, I was like, there's got to be a method to the madness. And the real kicker was when I watched a YouTube video of Jeff Seckinger saying that he journaled whatever was on his mind, whatever things he was dealing with, things that he had to do. He just let it all out on paper. And he said it was a very powerful thing for him. And so you and I both idolize that guy. And so I was just like, all right, let's do it.
So my question for you is, where do you think you adopted that first mentality? Did you have someone that you kind of role modeled off of as like the alpha male, or was it like a product of military? Where exactly did you learn that, and how did it serve you? Did it help your mental health? Did you have like worse mental health during that mindset? Like, how exactly did it serve you?
Good question, dude. So I definitely adopted it through competitive sports. Being on multiple teams where it's all guys and it's a lot of roughhouse and like the weaker individual kind of gets picked on or like left behind. I adopted that mentality that I have to be the leader, I have to be the alpha, I always have to be strong, I have to be better than everyone else. to maintain my so-called title. You know what I mean? And so I kept that all throughout high school, college, and through the military. And I saw some success with it, to be honest with you. But I think everything came crashing down when I went through my last deployment during COVID, which was something that was, I can't even articulate it, to be honest with you, dude. It was just something extremely trying, both just like mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and having that, like, I'll just tough it out mentality wasn't doing the job. And so that's what led me into earlier this year, the kind of spiral out of control where, I went through a lot of really rough patches in my life. And through those rough patches, I figured out, that I had to try something different. This mentality wasn't working. I couldn't crawl myself out of this hole that I was in. And I was just kind of like slapping band-aids on a gaping hole, essentially.
Dude, it's funny that you said that you adopted that mindset through competitive sports, because I had tried the same thing back in my early years as a kid growing up, except I was always on the skinnier side. Like I was super tall and very lanky. And so I was very easy to be taken down. I wasn't naturally very aggressive. And so even when I tried to be aggressive and assert myself, I just get my ass kicked and I'd be like, all right, this isn't working. I got to try a different approach. Like, let me come around the back or something. So very early on, like one of the things that I struggled with my mental health is that I couldn't actually compete with the other guys for dominance. And that mindset like didn't serve me. And so when I was like around 14, 15, 16, I started becoming very aware of my social skills and my mindset around my social skills. And I kind of got a little bit depressed. And that's what really put me into a hole. I was in a hole, when I was 14 years old in high school, and I was like severely depressed. I had to go to therapy. I had to like talk to a psychiatrist. I was medicated on, antidepressants and stuff. And that's when I really like started getting into fitness. And then I realized from fitness, I started listening to motivational talks, and, I really started to reprogram my mind to think more positively, to be more abundant, to, start loving myself for who I was, and realizing that I didn't need to conform to like this super aggressive macho man, that I could be friends with tons of girls and like kind of be more in touch with my feminine side and like be like super cool for doing so. And that's kind of like what led me down like my own mindset awakening. So I guess my question for you is, at what point was the turning point in which you were like, okay, something needs to change here? And like, at what point did you realize like, this is the direction that I want to go?
I think so. This whole process for me on really working on my mental health, being self-aware, meditation, letting go of that alpha ego, probably took hold around the end of May, when I had like that really dramatic trauma happen to me and to Kendall. And so after that, I just really realized that I was depressed. I had horrible like mental behavior patterns, like self-sabotage. I had a deep-rooted disbelief that I could achieve the level of success or things that I wanted to. And I would just like be in this cyclical pattern that even Kendall pointed out to me, that, I would really try and go for my goals and push as hard as I can. And then something inside my head would beat me down and I would start self-sabotaging myself, procrastinating, just looking for escapes from reality, and just have everything come crashing down on me. And then again, and then beat myself up for it, and then repeat the process again and try all over. So towards the end of May is really when I realized, I was like, I'm at rock bottom right now when it comes to my happiness, when it comes to where I want to be. And I just had to make a serious change. And I realized that it wasn't going to be from finances or attaining something or, achieving a physical status. It was going to be through changing how I believed in myself and how I perceived the world, and just my mental health in general.
Beautiful, man. What do you see working with your clients? Because you work with a lot of men in the military. What do you see as like a very common mental health pattern or a mindset pattern that is like really hurting people. It's not serving them to the level that like they need to be served. What do you find is common in the men that you work with?
Um, I think that there's a multitude. There's a good mix. So one of them is the guy who really, like myself, really just doesn't believe in himself. He shies away from everything. He's quiet. Any type of conflict, he strays away from. And he's just trained himself to stay away from situations where like growth or opportunities can occur or happen to him, because good things never happen to him, or he'll never be successful. And so a lot of the guys that end up joining the program with that mindset, I have to really help them see that like this whole thing does revolve around believing in themselves, and that they absolutely should, because they are more than enough.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah, I think another one that kind of reminded me of is, and I see this all the time too, is that people are afraid of looking dumb, or they're afraid of being bad at something, and so they'll never try because they don't want to be bad. Right? I see that
Yeah,
hurts people all the time.
dude. Yeah, I mean, I could even say the same for myself. Like I think before, I had this mindset of failure was my biggest fear, like fear of being stagnant and fear of just like failing in life. And after really growing with my mindset and listening to really good podcasts and successful people, it's just like those type of people are the exact opposite. They welcome failure, because through failure you learn the most important lessons, and that's when you'll be successful.
Yeah, it's valuing growth and learning through the experience than actually getting the result and goal. And like what's funny is like in the end you eventually do get the result and goal, like, but you need to go through that growth and failure in order for you to get there at the end. Another question for you is, how did you learn to change your mindset? Was this something that you learned through YouTube videos on your own? Did you take any courses or programs? And what did that process of reprogramming your mind look like? So what did you do every single day to actually work on your mental health and work on your mindset?
Dude, okay, so this is a good one. All right, so it's again multiple answers. So I went through my own little period of trying to figure out how to increase, or not increase, but better my mental health. And that looked like reading a book. So I read How to Do the Work. And that really like opened up my eyes towards, healing your inner child, and how traumas when you're younger definitely impact your behaviors and your instinctual patterns. And then so I was reading that, and I started watching some YouTube videos on meditation, and seeing Cam and Jess doing it. And I was just like, one day, dude, I literally was like, all right, I'm in a rut right now. I'm frustrated. I'm in a negative mental space. And so I was like, I'm gonna try and meditate. And this time, because I did try it when I was younger, and I was just like, this isn't for me. I sat there on the floor right here, right behind me. And I came into it with an open mind and open heart, because I kind of just felt really low. I was like, what do I have to lose here? Really just give it my 100%. And I did the 10-minute visualization meditation. And I was just imagining my life and my business flourishing in an amazing community, and just like feeling super fulfilled, helping all the guys and gals in the service who really need us. And I genuinely broke down, dude. I started bawling my eyes out. And that's when I realized that like, this meditation stuff really does work when you come into it with an open-minded heart. And B, this is a bigger calling for me. In that moment, I realized that this is something very powerful that I could start implementing as well, and using to open other people's eyes in the military, or who are just going through a rough time in general. And then shortly after that, I found the Wake Up Wealthy Brotherhood, which is the coaching program that I'm going through right now. And it was so funny, because a lot of the stuff they teach is very aligned with how to do the work. And so the basis of the whole program is fixing you. It's not that men have a business problem or an analytics problem or a systems problem. It's that most men have an execution problem, and that stems from the feelings of unworthiness, the lack in belief in yourself, the traumas that you suffer, and like your bad behavioral patterns that you need to reprogram and actually fucking believe in yourself so that you can achieve the level of success that you deserve, you know? So I think all of that just combined into just, to use your term, a really powerful vortex of mental self-healing.
I love it, man. I love it. Now, I want to talk about meditation really quick, because I've tried meditating in the past, and I think there's different types of meditation. I think meditation
Oh
is
yeah.
more of like a state in which you're able to enter, but it's not a specific like exercise. For example, I tried closing my eyes with my back straight, doing breaths, not exactly for me, but I feel like I'm able to get in states of meditation either through my training or going through on walks, or, going down to the beach and kind of observing the world and letting my thoughts kind of just pop up unfiltered. Even sometimes when I'm taking a nap, I will like practice visualization. I'll let my thoughts kind of just play themselves out and kind of see how they play out. And then I eventually fall asleep. But like, I'm curious for you is like, what is meditation, and are there different forms of meditation to where you can get the same result?
Dude, absolutely. There are a multitude of different types of meditation. So as you said, there's like visualization, there's like empowering meditation, there's like morning meditations, there's meditations to kind of help you go back into past traumas. So it's like almost a form of hypnosis. And there's that, like, kind of all stems around NLP work, which is neuro linguistic programming. So yeah, dude, there's like a bunch of different types of meditation for all different types of purposes. And so like for me in the morning, I usually do a morning meditation or an empowering meditation to kind of like set the tone for the day and like hit the ground running. And then I do an afternoon meditation, that's more of a visualization. So I always like to visualize like my 90-day. So I have a 90-day vision that I visualize. I have big like 30 year down the road visualizations. And so like, constantly being aware of that and thinking about it in detail, because that's also really key. Like the more detail you bring about to your visions and stuff like that, the more that you can create this reality for yourself. And so I believe that meditation is what you said. It's just a state that we can achieve, in which we kind of just analyze thoughts for what they are from an emotional detachment point of view. So like, like you said, just having these thoughts pop up into your mind and just analyzing them and seeing them there, but don't put an emotion on them. Don't think about them too deeply. Don't react to them. They're kind of just there for you to analyze, because that's just your subconscious talking to yourself, right? Or talking to your higher being. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, dude, I really believe that like meditation is just, it's a really powerful tool. And, on the scientific end, so when we go into a meditative state, we're actually entering the alpha brainwave state, right? And what that state is it's a more analytical, self-aware, kind of like knowledge absorbing state, that you have to achieve through like relaxing and allowing essentially your ego, which acts as a safeguard to keep you in the known, right? So that's literally your whole ego's purpose, is to keep you in the known. And so any change, anything different, all your big goals, your new habits that you're trying to implement, that's all unknown and unsafe in your subconscious mind. So it tries to hold you back from this. So meditating relaxes that guard, brings that guard down, and helps you kind of just allow these thoughts and these impressions to come about without you really judging those things.
Dude, so I have something that I want to run by you. And I kind of want you to be able to categorize it, because I have daily routines. I'm not quite sure like what to consider them, if they're meditations or if they're just me thinking to myself, like a mental jerk off session or something like that. So in the morning, I'm usually in the shower. I usually take about 10 to 15 minutes to kind of just daydream. And these daydreams are completely unguided. Sometimes I'm thinking about, the weekend ahead. Sometimes I'm thinking about 6 months ahead. Sometimes I'm thinking about 10 years ahead. Sometimes I'm thinking about like 50 years ahead. And I kind of just let those visions play out in my head. And I kind of just try to mind map, okay, where is it that I'm trying to go? What is it that I want my life to look like? But I don't like exactly like make it fixated or try to control them. I just let them play out. All right. What would you consider that?
I would consider that your form of like meditating, because you, like you said, the real thing that like rung for me of what you said was you don't try to control it. And that's what meditation is, you know, like I think a lot of people come into meditation having like an expected outcome, or you know, they try to control their thoughts and emotions, or they try to drive their thinking a certain way, when our reality, like you said, we so my this is a perfect example of like how it should be. So one of my coaches in Wake Up Wealthy dictated meditation as this. He said, imagine you're floating over a rushing river and you see a ton of salmon just swimming through back and forth, upriver, downriver. And each one of those salmon is a thought. And all you're doing is you're sitting above the water, just watching the salmon swim. And so that's exactly kind of like how you need to perceive meditation, is just you're seeing the salmon swim with no real attachment to it. You're just watching everything kind of come and go for what it is. And so I think you being in the shower might have some, like, is it a relaxing sensation for you where you feel kind of like more at peace, safe, and all that?
I think so. I think for me, there's 3 times a day in which I do this. I do this in the shower in the morning. And then there's also periods of time where, like, say around 4 o'clock, I won't have any calls. I won't have any work to do. I'm like pretty much like caught up for the day. So I'll go down to the beach and I'll just observe the beach. I'll people watch a little bit. I'll take some deep breaths. And it feels like I just hitting the trash can on my MacBook, just like everything that I'm carrying for the day is just like hitting recycle, right? It just empties my mind. And then I do it another time after my coaching call every single day. I will walk my dog, but because my dog is so big and he's so reactive, I don't have time to check my phone. And so it's just me and my dog on this walk, and I have no distractions. And it's just, sometimes I'm just able to let my thoughts roll out. So those are typically 3 times a day on a daily basis in which I'm able to leave my phone away and just go be with my thoughts for a little bit. And it feels so good because I'm able to like compartmentalize my thoughts. It's like, it feels like I'm making my bed for my own brain. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's kind of like a reset or a data dump for you, right?
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Would that be meditation?
I don't know if I would consider the whole walking the dog thing meditation, but I mean, you can definitely meditate like in the shower. So, I mean, it's all just about bringing down your stress levels, feeling in a very comfortable, super relaxed environment, and letting those alpha brainwaves actually take place and bring yourself into a very, I guess, peaceful state of mind. So I would definitely think that your shower experience, for lack of a better word, is a form of meditation for you. But the other two might just be you. That's your you time, bro. You know what I mean? Like that's where you are data dumping, and you are kind of like, because like you said, you're compartmentalizing your thoughts, and so that's not really just letting them take hold and be what they are. You're kind of more organizing what you're thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I had
But
another
hey,
question.
if that works for you, dude, that works.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I got that dialed in. Um, Question for you. What are some of your favorite exercises that you do on a daily basis for your mindset?
Oh, um, I would 100% say meditation's my number one, just because I can really alter and change my entire state of being through meditation. Even if we all have those days where we just wake up and we wake up on the wrong side of the bed. We're not into it. We just want to go back to sleep. We're just like, all right, it's been 5 minutes awake. I'm already over this day. And I can go into a meditative state and flip that switch, dude, and just be like, all right, you know what? This is actually going to be the fucking best day ever. I'm on it. Let's go. Everything is time blocked. I'm hitting all my time blocks. Like I'm good to go. Another thing would be I have daily reminders. So I know you and Megan have the little post-its on your mirror, which is kind of funny because David Goggins did that. He called it his accountability mirror. I have it on my computer monitor here and in my mirror in my bathroom. So those are definitely daily reminders to kind of like snap me back into the grateful mindset, the abundance mindset, when I feel myself falling into that scarcity mindset. And then like you, dude, going for walks is huge. Getting outside, being underneath the sun, you know, just observing nature, like grounding yourself, remembering that you know, a lot of the times I think, especially for me, we get cooped up in our own little world, you know what I mean? Our little ball of stress and worry and everything else that's going on inside of here. When in all reality, there's a fucking huge world out there, and everything that we're going through is really super insignificant. And so if you think about it like that, it kind of takes away the power of those problems and those stressors. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. I have one more question for you before we wrap things up. What
Sure.
would you say to either your old self or maybe a guy that you meet who's, you know, too cool for school? They don't want to do this, you know, mindset work because, you know, that's like girly or whatever, what have you. They're trying to muscle their way through, you know, this heavy baggage. Like, what would you say to someone if you were to able to sit them down and be like, hey, look, guy, like, this is what you're missing out on?
So let me rephrase. Let me ask you this. Am I talking to my younger self, or am I just going to talk to someone dealing with something? Because
Let's say both.
both, okay. So
Yeah.
if it's my younger self, dude, because I've gone through many exercises like this, talking to my younger child, for me, I always tell myself that I am more than enough, that I am loved, and that everything that I'm going through right now is going to lead me to where I am now, which is a young, successful, empowered male individual. Just to give myself that reassurance, you know, because some of the traumas that I suffered, I had a lot of feelings of unworthiness and self-doubt. And so just reinstilling that, like, you know, the end is secure and that everything's going to be okay, would be huge for me to tell my younger self. And then for someone going through something, it's like you said, like just a guy trying to push through and not be his authentic self and try to be that alpha male and everything like that. I would definitely approach the younger kid and let him know that, you know, what is cool is not actually cool, and what is going to bring him happiness and fulfillment is being authentic and being in touch with who you really are. Because the more that we subdue the parts of ourselves that are real, the less happy we feel, you know, in life in general. And so really embracing who we are, what actually makes us happy, and not trying to conform to society, like pretty much society puts on all the males, which we could go into, but that would take forever. So definitely those words of wisdom.
Dude, I want to throw in a story really quick, because when I was younger, I used to like hit myself in the head and be like, what does that even mean to be authentically yourself and like be who you really are? I'm like, I don't even know it. Like, I freaking watched Lion King and Simba's like, remember, or Mufasa's like, remember who you are. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Like, but as I've gotten older in hindsight and I look past at my younger self, I'm able to see, like, in the past, I actually used to be very frustrated socially because I would be in a group with girls and guys, and you know, I wasn't the dominant alpha male. I wasn't the one getting all the attention in those group settings. I wasn't the one that was cracking jokes. I wasn't the one that was like, you know, being super like involved in the conversation. I would be socially a little bit observant. I mean, you've seen me in social situations. I would be kind of the kid chilling in the back watching, but I wanted so badly to be that person in the middle, and it really frustrated me. But as I gotten older, I've accepted who I am, and like I know now, like, that's just who I am. I'm an observer. I sit back and I watch and I listen. And that doesn't take away from my value in social situation. It doesn't take away the value that I have with the personal relationships that I have with every single individual there. That's just who I am. And I've accepted that in big group situations, I'm probably not going to be the one speaking out and getting all the attention. I'm probably going to be the one in the back having a one-on-one conversation with someone else. And that's totally fine. And as soon as I accepted that, as soon as I accepted, like, hey, that's me, I've never been happier socially, because now I can go to any party and be the one who's in the back and be totally fine and happy with who I am. So I just kind of wanted to give that as an example of like what that even means.
Yeah, dude. I think that's powerful. It's, yeah, definitely accepting who or what you're kind of like gifted with. Cause like I said, you are very analytical. And I noticed that in one-on-one conversations with you that it is definitely a strong point because you have these out of box like ways of perceiving things, you know what I mean? Like out of the norm. And you're very good at carrying those one-on-one conversations. They're very depthful and meaningful. So
Thanks,
I think that's an awesome observation.
thanks, man. I appreciate it. What would you recommend as like your final, words of advice if someone who hears like in a low point and kind of wants to pull themselves out of rut? What would the starting steps be as your final word?
Damn. Ooh, that's difficult. Well, I mean, first of all, I would tell them, because it's funny. I put this post out today. Is that like I think more people, or especially males, need to understand that it's okay to be struggling. It's okay to have these issues and problems, and it's okay to feel at a low point. And if you're at this point where you need to go out and seek help, that doesn't remove any of your masculinity. It doesn't take away from you being a powerful individual. If anything, I think it's very empowering as a leader to know that, okay, I'm struggling in this area and I need to seek help to improve in this area. So just understanding that, and being okay with, yeah, dude, just like having mental issues, or struggling in life. And because like society today just depicts these men, these successful guys, as these superior alpha males, like grit mindset, like they can get through anything, fucking run through brick walls and stuff like that. But in all reality, that's not the case for everyone. Not everyone can do that. That's a very select few. And so if you're struggling and you think that you need help, or that think that you need to work on yourself, that's very empowering in itself.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show. Where can the people find you?
The people can find me on Instagram at The Real Sardini, on YouTube at Nicholas Sarda, and on Facebook as Nick Sarda.
Awesome, brother. Thank you so much for chatting. Everybody who's listening, catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.